Hello and welcome to the second episode of Cultured Boys. This is another episode of you getting to learn a little about us and our tastes. This week we're going to talk about the top 5 manga franchises that we like. Franchise, series, I don't really know which is the most appropriate word. I guess series.
I'd say like it's sort of like it could be an anime, it could be a manga, like whichever we prefer really. Like it's just like one of our favorite series, manga or anime of all time.
Fair enough. I'm Nate or Nathan, and as always, joined by my co-host, the other cultured boy, Pepe.
What up? Well, I'm not going to be doing that every time, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that was cringy. That's cringy. You're cringe. That's what makes us cultured, though.
It's a good start.
Sure, why not? Right, now let's just kick it off. Who wants to go first? You or me?
You jump into it, Nate. You jump into first.
Okay, so my number 5 most beloved manga series is Katakyo Hitman Reborn. I thought about this a whole lot because we've read a lot of stuff, and I have enjoyed many different franchises or series, but I think about Hitman Reborn a lot for mostly an infamous reason, but generally it was a really good series overall.
Yeah, I think like both of us, like it's quite I don't know, it's one of those series that really stuck with me over time, and I'm gonna bring this up now, Nathan, because I've got Hitman Reborn as my number 4, so it might save us a little time in the.
Okay, that's cool.
But sorry, carry on.
Do you want to talk about your number 5 then? Because if Hitman Reborn's your number 4, then we can just talk about Hitman Reborn after your number 5, and then I'll go into my number 4.
Okay, cool. So
your number 5.
Okay, so my number 5 manga and anime series of all time is Hunter x Hunter. So
I see.
I only really just like I've known about Hunter x Hunter for like years now, but I never actually watched it until maybe like 5 years ago, I think. Like and I didn't read the manga originally. I didn't watch the original series at all. I jumped into the 2011 series.
Is that the latest one?
Yeah, that's the latest one. Yeah, like because the manga like it's on and off right now. Like Togashi's been on hiatus. Like he goes on the hiatus because of his illness. He does it like probably about every year or so. Like he does like a few chapters and then he goes off doing a hiatus again. But yeah, I'd say it's like it's one of those things. I only watch the latest anime. And honestly, like I'd recommend it to anyone because it is just like it's so good. Like I can understand like at the start of it, like there might be some people that be like, I'm not sure if this is for me or not. But like give it like about 10 episodes in, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, this is like mad. Like, and it only gets like better from the characters in it. Like there's the Phantom Troop, which are like the evil guys, and then like Gon, Killua, like there's a protagonist, the antagonist, those guys you don't know if they're evil or not. Like they're sometimes good, they're sometimes evil, like sometimes they work with each other, and it's like it's absolutely nuts, man. Like I don't want to give any spoilers at all in this thing.
Good, don't give away spoilers. I have only watched I think 10 episodes at most, so
mate, honestly, I think I've recommended this to you like about 20 times.
I'll tell you the same thing I always tell you and everyone else who says, oh, watch this thing. It's on the list. I'll get to it eventually. Probably, I don't know, in the next 10 years. When everyone else has forgotten about it, that's when I'll jump on, because that's what I tend to do. I'm bad like that.
I mean, Hunter's been going on for like years as well. I can't remember when it first started. I feel like it's like early 2000s.
I feel like it was.
Yeah, like, but because like they had the anime, like the first anime, and then obviously that ended. I think just before the Chimera Ant arc. I think because Togashi was still publishing chapters at that point. But then like then obviously he stops, and then I just trying to think, when did it start? 1998 it started, so bear that in mind. It's probably been going like a little bit longer than One Piece, longer than Naruto, but you'll find that it has less chapters just because of Togashi's very on and off hiatuses. But getting back to the point of the series, it is just like there's so much drama in it, and then you're on edge, and like there's about 100 and I think there's 150 episodes, probably more, I think. But like, and it's a continuous one. It's not like it's a 24 episode series and then they stop. Like, it is just like so intense, man. Like you watch one episode, you're like, God, I need to watch the next one. Like, and there's characters in there which you get behind, and it's another one where they're not afraid to kill off characters as well. Like,
That's
so
good.
you could have like a favorite character there, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy's cool, and then he's like, nah, gone. Like, especially in the later arcs with that.
I'm quite used to that. Oh, Jojo. God damn.
Jojo, like they like kill off like someone random every time. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I love about Jojo.
I find it's always my favorite character.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna get into that.
Oh man, but yeah, I'd say the thing is about Hunter x Hunter as well is that it is one of my favorite series, but like I'd only say that the anime really grips me. Like if I tried to start reading the manga of Hunter x Hunter, I don't know if I'd get into it as much, just because like the art style for me, especially in the later chapters, like I can't really get on board with it as much. And it's like Hunter x Hunter as a series is very dialogue heavy. Mm-hmm. So like, especially the later chapters when they're trying to explain certain powers like Nen, and that like it just gets so overwhelming. All the text boxes literally just get so overwhelming, and it's just like it's a lot of info to take in. It's a lot of info. Not that it's a bad thing. Maybe it's just me being lazy about text. But especially when reading a manga.
I'm with you on that. If a manga's got like too much writing, I just can't get behind it. Like there was I don't know if it's still going. I don't think it is. What was that one that came out last year? The Time Machine manga. That was all text, pretty much. I don't know why that wasn't a light novel, but that was a new series that came out that had loads of text. I just couldn't get behind it. So I completely understand what you're saying.
I remember the one you're talking about. It's about this guy that like travels in time and writes manga for Jump or something.
No, he didn't travel in time. What it was he was trying to get published constantly, and they kept saying your stories and your characters, they're like flat. There's like no anything. And then all of a sudden he's like, microwave got hit by lightning or something, and then mangas like Shonen Jumps from 10 years in the future got transported back through his microwave.
Yeah, I remember this series, and it didn't last very long. I think it lasted probably about 20 chapters.
You know why? Because it was in Shonen Jump, and 3/4 of the thing was text, and every panel that had a drawing in it felt like it was just him at another angle, right? With a massive speech bubble that took up most of the panel. Why even bother making that a manga if that's what it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons. Probably it might be one of the reasons why it just didn't last too long. You never know if that, but I think getting back to Hunter x Hunter, it's like I think we could talk about like random mangas that have just stopped in Jump like for ages, but yeah, well, like the latest chapters, they're good. Don't get me wrong. I think I prefer reading it in bulk rather than a weekly one. Like when it is available anyway, when he's not on hiatus.
Which doesn't seem like often.
But yeah, so the manga of Hunter x Hunter, I don't rate it as much. I still rate it. It's good. Like if we were just going solely on the manga, it wouldn't be in my top 5. I'll tell you that 100%. Mm-hmm. Like that's why like when I originally was thinking about these top 5s, I was like, oh yeah, there's this series, and they're all series I'm currently reading right now because they're still ongoing, or like they finished. But technically Hunter x Hunter hasn't finished, is still ongoing, but there's no new content out for it. And like the problem with that is like the anime is what really got me into Hunter x Hunter, and that's how good this series is for me to put it on my top 5 just based on the anime. Like that's what really holds it up for me. It's and the intros and the outros are really good as well. If you're like a big like Japanese music, anime music fan,
I will say that the first opening, Departure, that's a pretty good song.
Departure is the only opening.
Nathan.
Oh,
okay. I don't know.
Literally, it's one of those ones.
Can you tell
like,
I've only watched 10 episodes?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
That's the thing. Like, it's a really strange one for the anime because like they literally don't change the opening at all. They just keep the one song, but they change the graphics of it. Like, so they change the.
Yeah, but I mean, like a song like Departure, though.
Yeah.
I can see why you wouldn't get a new song. It's a pretty good song.
It's on point. Even the ending song for the first ending song, I think it was. I think it's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I think is the band.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say what strange title for a.
No, I can't remember what the song is called, but it is just like that ending song is like on point. Like, I love that. But yeah, I'd say that pretty much rounds up Hunter x Hunter for me. I think that's really on point. That's what I like.
Cool. I would like to just throw out there that originally this was a manga series list. At least that's how we were pitching it to each other. I didn't know we was going to include anime, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention we are quite big fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's not on my list. Kind of bummed out about that because if we were talking anime, definitely would have been on my list. But yeah,
you do a quick switch up now if you want. If there's anything that you'd want to throw in.
But I really like my number 4 as well. I would have swapped it out. But number 4 on my list, I really do like that one too. So JoJo's for me is just going to have to be an honourable mention.
I'd say the same here as well. I think like that's one of the ones I would have like. That's one of the ones I was contemplating as well for that.
But our love for JoJo may have to just be a whole nother episode where we just you're just going to have to hear us get fucking into it, just way into it, because trust me, we will when that starts. There ain't stopping us. But anyway, I digress. Just thought I'd throw it out there. But yeah, so here's at least my number 5 and your number 4, Hitman Reborn.
Okay, so what is it that like proper like got you into Hitman Reborn?
So a little history. Pepe and I just started hanging out properly, like becoming good friends, right? I didn't really read manga before. I used to only really watch anime if it was on TV. Pepe lends me this book. And I'm like, what is this? There's a baby with a gun on the front. What is this? Didn't understand it, right? From the cover, you're like, okay, I guess Japan, sure. It starts off being a strange, like, gag manga, you know, like story of the week kind of thing. Almost like a Power Rangers kind of situation, you know, like quite predictable. Something comes up. A little baby with the gun shoots what is it? A regret bullet, or was it?
Yeah, it's because basically what happens is basically Suna gets shot, and then he becomes his regretful self. He becomes a state of regret where like, oh, I didn't get to accomplish this in my life.
Not just that, and by the way, he essentially explodes out of himself, and is now a kid running around in his boxer shorts with a little flame coming out of his forehead, regretting some form of action he did not take. And that was quite a while, wasn't it? Like, I feel like it was quite a lot of the early stuff. I want to say at least 10 chapters, maybe, at most.
I think
which is
at least
a fair
50
amount.
chapters, I think, where they
was it
regret
50?
stuff.
No,
because I was looking back at it, like because I was going to reread the series, and for a long time, Hitman Reborn was
not 50 chapters,
just basically a comedy manga, and it I think it must be 50. It's a high number. It's a lot because they had
I remember it being a lot, but not 50. But anyway, so it's weird to recommend because this like comedy story of the week thing, like, it sort of works and it sort of doesn't. It's one of those where, like, you know, it's either your sense of humor or it's not. But all of a sudden it evolves, right? They introduce these other characters, And all of a sudden, it turns from this comedy thing to like your typical shonen. There's fights going on, and you know they talked before about Suna has to become the next boss of the Vongola family, the mafia family, right? And before it was all the regretful bullet stuff, like, haha, he's in his underpants and he's like doing all the things he regretted just then and there. Now it turns out this stuff is serious. There's other people fighting for this position, and whether you like it or not, you are the rightful chosen 10th head of the family. The 9th head of the family has specifically chosen you. And then he has to build his own little family, his own little team. And it's, I tell you, the fights are just cool. They're drawn really well, and each character's got their own like gimmick or like their own thing, and everything starts to snowball. Like you go from haha, little baby shot him in the forehead, now he's running around, to you've got Gokudera, who comes in, initially hates Suna, and is now his right hand man. Don't know why you've got a 16-year-old running around with dynamite, but there you go. That's his thing.
Bear in mind, he changes his mind in this, like, that, oh, I'm going to be a right-hand man in the space of one chapter. Yeah. It's not even like it's an ongoing thing, like, oh, I'm your rival, but I'll get on board with you. It is literally like, oh, no, this guy's quite cool. Literally like that. He switches his mood, like, instantly.
He does. But then, like, so you've got Gokudera, who does his, you know, who's dynamite and like ranged weapon. Well, I say ranged, but like
he's a bit more ranged later on, isn't he? Like I think like at first, like in the first couple like battle chapters, he's throwing dynamite everywhere, and then when it gets into the later ones, that's where he becomes like a proper ranged fighter.
Then you've got Yamamoto, who's a baseball star of the school, and they somehow trick him into being a swordsman. Do you remember back when they were like, here, have this special bat, and then every time he got way into it, swung it fast enough, it turned into a katana, and they tricked him essentially to join their family. He thought they were just like another like Sunday team or something.
It's not even that. It's like kind of like, oh yeah, we're just playing this game with Reborn, and he really wants you to join in. And like Yamamoto's like, yeah, fine, let's do it. And like, it doesn't matter what context it is. Yamamoto's like, yeah, I'll join in. This is fun and games. He has no idea about any of the mafia stuff that's going on, and it is just like,
yeah,
it's great. It's great comedy.
So and then what? There's Lambo, who's another kid. He's supposed to be an assassin. He always wants to take out Reborn because Reborn's like the most well-known, most renowned assassin in the underground world. But Lambo's from another family and he's a complete nuisance. They send him to essentially just get rid of him. That's what it is. But like even Lambo has some cool moments, you know, like when he uses the 10 years bazooka. And his future
That's like
self
his speciality, isn't it?
Yeah, because normal Kid Lambo, you don't care until what was it? The fight with Zanzas' group, and then like, you're like, oh shit, this little baby, this kid who's normally annoying, you wouldn't care, like is getting beat real bad, and you don't know what's going to happen to him. And like it's just stuff like that. The fights are just so cool, and like it's like the group dynamic.
Yeah, because he has like you've also got is it Chrome? I think it is.
Yeah, well, I always
like so basically all these guys become his guardians. Like it's all weather based as well. So he has the ring of. So as soon as the sun, the ring of the sky.
Oh wait.
Then Gokudera has storm. Like it goes on so on and so forth. And like all these guys like who are just like grouped together from this small comedy series end up being his gang. And like it's such a bunch of misfits as well. Like we didn't mention Hibari, by the way, because Hibari is my favorite character in that whole series. He is so badass, and he doesn't give a shit about anyone. He just wants to beat people up.
Hibari is the most like reluctant member of the family. Like actual Hibari from like present day doesn't even technically realize he's in the family. He just sort of appears when it's convenient. fight someone, probably wins, and then disappears. At no point do they ever really be like, he's part of the family, until you get into like the future arc.
Yeah.
In which case, I mean, there's kind of spoilers, but at this point, most of these series, at least the ones I'm going to talk about, are quite old, so
Yeah.
it's spoilers, but it's not. That's your fault, in a way, for not.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
blame
like,
the viewer. Like,
Hitman Reborn
put
is.
like a spoiler warning at the start of this.
I mean, you can do that if you want, but Hitman Reborn's been out for a while. Like, if you ain't read it, that's your
it's
fault.
true, yeah.
And a lot of the series I'm going to talk about, if you ain't read it or seen it by this point, that's your fault. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Hitman Reborn is... The reason I like it is because you see, like, the progression of Suna. And even when he's, like... He's always supposed to be this, like, lame kid who doesn't want to be the next boss. He always ends up becoming, like, super cool. And, like, it doesn't get any better than him getting the gloves, like everyone's like special weapon, you know, like, and everyone's box and the rings, and then Suna's like, oh, I got a pair of gloves, what's that about? And it turns out because Suna is like the first ever Vongola, and what's this thing called again, the attack, the
X burner.
That's it, X burner. Like, it's a cool friggin' move, and ever since Hitman Reborn, like, playing some of the like jump compilation, you know, like compilation games or roster games, Suna's always been one of my favorites because that move, X burner, is freaking cool.
So good. Like, honestly, like, if you've ever played J-Star's Victory Versus at all, Suna is like absolutely a beast.
He's a monster in that game because of the X burner.
Yeah, it's like, it's the same with Goku, like with most of the Dragon Ball characters as well.
I mean, when you can shoot beams out of your hand, who's really gonna beat you when everyone else can't do that?
It's just like a fun thing. Like the moves are cool, and then there's certain other aspects in the series as well. Like, it's all about gang wars as well. Like, oh, here's this rival gang that want to take over and do evil stuff. Or like the future arc is very much focused in that anyway, the more evil aspects of it.
Yeah,
but like, there's so, like, I think the whole aesthetic of the series as well, the fact that it's not like a gritty like shonen. It's not like there's like, oh my god, it's so serious all the time. I think because it's very colorful, it's got comedy mixed into it. It's a battle still. Like, that's what sort of really sells it for me. Like, that it's a bit lighthearted, but it's still a decent shonen battle manga.
Yeah, I think you encompassed my feelings like perfectly with that statement as well. Like, it's very well balanced, and it's another one of those, the characters appear and are written well enough that you care. They don't always get a lot of backstory, but like when they do, you learn enough that you're like, okay, now I know why I need to care about this character.
Yeah, I think, as you said, the character progression of like basically all of them as well. They all come so far like from the start to the end. Like, when you first see them, like, it is like there's a great like journey there, and I'd highly recommend anyone reading that series.
I feel like,
or watching it. The anime is good as well. It doesn't go the whole. It doesn't, like, if you watch the anime, it doesn't show you the whole arc of it. Like, if you want to get the full story of Hitman Reborn, you'll have to read the manga, because I think they finish the anime after the future arc, so you won't see any of the other bits.
Okay, so they miss some cool stuff, but at the same time they don't get to. And I'm not going to start the run. I know this happens every time, but I'm just not going to focus too much on the ending. I will leave it at, it makes me mad, and that's it. I'm just not going to get into it, because this will become the entire episode, and we got other stuff to talk about, so I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, like, if you ever read the manga, or if you've read the manga, you know what we're talking about, and it's fair. Like, it's not the best ending, but the whole journey of the series is great to watch.
Anyway, before I get too mad, my number 4.
Yeah.
Shaman King.
Ooh, okay.
Now, this is one where I would recommend both. Shaman King, my first exposure was the anime that aired on Fox Kids way back in the day. And it's an amazing series. I read the manga, I want to say about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, like the whole way through. And it is still such a good series. If you like your typical battle shonen manga, Shaman King has got a lot of it, and they're cool. The evolution of battles is amazing. You start off with characters just sort of using regular items or whatever and fusing their guardian spirit into that weapon, and they just envelop the weapon essentially to make a cool like spirit weapon. And then it like evolves and they become like megazords, like Power Rangers. Like they then join teams. That each shaman needs a team of like 3 to join the tournament, which happens once every 500 years. The Shaman King tournament. Whoever wins the tournament gets to shape the world for the next 500 years. I think it was 500, something like that. It was a long time. It was supposed to be a long, long time. And yeah, like, it's just really, really cool. It's such an amazing premise to think, like, because, you think, a series about a kid or people who can see ghosts and, like, they fight. You're like, okay, but how? Like, the people fight and then the ghosts are just sort of there giving advice or something? But no, you literally, they use the power of the spirit, and each spirit is unique. For example, the main character, Yoa Sakura, his spirit is a samurai, a Midamaru, and everything is based around katanas and samurais. But then you've got, like, Ren, who has Bason, a Chinese warrior. They use the Chinese weapon. A lot of it's based around that. And it's like, it's the ghost, the character, and like the weaponry make everyone like really unique. But you still have these like epic fights between characters.
See, I'm coming from a place where I've only actually ever watched the anime on Fox Kids / JX.
You should really read the last part because of the anime that we watched back in the day didn't actually finish the same way. They had they did their own ending for the anime. It's a completely different ending. So I won't say anything about the ending.
Yeah, I've read bits of the manga. Like I read, I think it was the first 4 volumes, because I used to like buy loads of volumes when I was a teenager, and I think I got the first 4 volumes. And I was really into it, and I probably understood it a little bit more than when I watched the anime, because I watched the anime, but it was very on and off, and sometimes I'd miss a few episodes. Because back then it wasn't a streaming thing; you'd literally just watch it whenever it was on TV.
Pretty much.
But from what I do want to actually finish the series. But the way I'm going to do that is hopefully through the new series that is coming out.
Yes, we would be slipping up if we didn't mention that they are putting out a new anime, and it looks amazing so far.
Yeah, the promos of it look like absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to actually jump into the series, 'cause I know it's good, but I just need to actually get into it again. And like, this is a great way for me to actually relearn about the series and get back into that. So, yeah, I can 100% see where you're coming from with this. Like,
and that's the thing, you don't even know the real ending. Like,
no, I don't.
That's what's going to be so amazing for you, and like everyone else who was like you and only watched the anime when it was on TV back in the day. Like, there's a lot of the series you didn't know because. You didn't go that far, or they cut it out because censorship and whatever. Oh, I can't wait for you to. I can't wait.
But there's certain bits that I know of because I think there's certain characters as well that pop up in the series where they're like supposed to be main character. They're framed as main characters, and I don't feel like they're actually in it for that long. Like I feel like they're just there like towards the end of the series. I could be wrong. As I said, I can't say that I've watched every single.
I feel
episode.
like you're talking about what's his face, like Lysander and that.
Yeah,
And
possibly.
And the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, is it him? Yeah, it might be. And,
You talk about
there's
the British kid with the green hair and the little like
yeah,
pendulum.
him,
Yeah?
and he has like a little. Who's the one that has the It's like a pointer. That's such a crap way of putting it. It's like a dowsing thing.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I remember him. I remember certain characters like
he's
him
somewhat
and,
important, but not really. I'd say he's somewhere between a secondary and main character. You know, like I guess he would be a secondary character. Like he's one of the important secondary characters. When he does turn up, he's got a reason to be there, but like normally he wouldn't appear, kind of thing.
I had a couple Shaman King games actually. I had one on Game Boy Advance, but it's a knockoff. So
my favorite one was a Shaman King Game Boy Advance game that was like Pokemon. It was like an RPG, and you could go around and recruit spirits and like fuse them to make better ones. It was cool. I can't remember what it was called. I know
sounds like Persona.
It literally was, but it was Shaman King, and I was totally down for more of that. By the way, it was really really cool. But there was another game on Game Boy that was like it was like a platformer, like
I had this
an action platformer. That one was okay. It was not as cool.
I couldn't get into it whatsoever, but you know what I'm like. I'm terrible with platformers. So like, well, if anyone doesn't know that, yeah, here you go. I'm absolutely terrible at platforms. Like anything like Mario or like side-scrolling sort of bits, I'm just awful at them. So, but I did have a PS2 Shaman King game.
Oh, I never had one on like a home console. I only had the Game Boy Advance ones.
It was really good, you know. I think if you look back at reviews now, people probably hate on it quite a bit. But like for me, playing it, I actually really enjoyed it. I must have sold it though, because I think I was trying to look for it the other day, and like it's just gone.
Oh, no.
So it's either like disappeared in the house somewhere, like when I was like changing up my room, or it's literally just like I'm probably sold it. I think it's the latter. I think I've sold the game. And it's probably worth like 35 quid online as well when I try to research
at least where
it.
we are, that's rare. Like any Shaman King games were rare because we didn't actually get them. You could only find them in the weird like not quite import stores, but you know what I mean, like it's like they're just those shops that just sold games, which they just got games,
in, like,
DVDs,
randomly.
and whatever else they could get their hands on from wherever.
Yeah, you wouldn't find them in your game store. Like it'd be very
not
rare.
Your high street game store.
Yeah,
or you had to import them, which was super expensive. Still is to some extent. But yeah,
I get that. I get Shaman King.
But yeah, I would seriously highly recommend Shaman King to anyone who likes a shonen battle manga. You will not regret. When they fight, it's pretty fucking cool.
Ah, nice one. Okay, so that wraps up our number 5 and 4 picks for today. Join us next time when we discuss our top 3 picks. So hit that subscribe, like this video, and we will see you next time.